Welcome to this tutorial. This is the third one in the material series. We are going to dive in a little bit deeper than we've done with the previous ones. We are going to look at two topics mainly. The first one is cleaning up topology. We have some artifacts in the model and it has an effect on the way that the materials appear, especially around the edge. So we are going to learn how to clean that up to get a good, clean looking material. And the second topic we're going to cover is UV Unwrapping. We will be using Smart UV Unwrap to project an image on top of a model, but we want to wrap the text around the model but have a seamless transition from top to bottom. So we have enough fun topics to cover, but let's start with a crash course in topology. For good topology, a quad-based mesh is preferred. What are quads? These are faces with 4 sides. They come in various shapes. I included 6 of them. All 6 of these are quads. If we create a face connecting the various quads, we get a so-called n-gon. N is in many or more than 4. In this case, we created an n-gon ourselves to demonstrate the topology, but these n-gons can also be present in the model you import. Here we connect the vertices and create an n-gon with 6 edges. This is normally not a preferred shape, as this may make modeling a bit harder, but in our case it creates artifacts on the material we applied. But the influence of n-gons on materials also depend on the location and area, so they may not always need cleanup. With the n-gon in place, let's clean up the topology, starting on the left with the red shapes. These shapes easily can be connected as the edges both have 2 vertices. Once we connect them, both shapes still have 4 sides, so still quads, so this was an easy one to connect. Now take a look at the green shape next to the red one. We start with 4 edges and we want to connect to the top vertex, the red and the blue one. But to connect to the red shape, I need to create another vertex, basically creating an n-gon, ending up with 5 edges now. Here I can easily solve this by straightening the edges 4 and 5 or eliminating the vertex here, and I have a quad again. Notice how the big n-gon on the top also loses an edge. We have 5 now instead of 6 edges, so we're making good progress. I can also easily connect both green quads by combining the vertices together. This also eliminates an additional edge from the large blue n-gon, making this a quad now. So all vertices and shapes we connected are quads, and we can continue to reconnect any shape we need. What we should avoid next to n-gons is a connection with more than 4 edges, which is called a pole. This normally has a huge effect on the distribution of materials and should be avoided. That was a crash course in topology. Let's dive into the model and use the same procedure to clean up the topology and create a good looking material. We are back at the robot and let me zoom in to the part that we are going to work with, which is right here. You can see the defects, but let me change the material first. Let's make it less bumpy so the defects are even better visible, as you can see here. So we made it a little bit worse. I want to change a few settings. I want to use the right hand mouse button and change to shade smooth. Then I want to head over to the right hand side and let's ensure that auto smooth is off in this case. And we're gonna head over to the modifiers tab. We are gonna add a modifier, in this case is an edge split. And let me just zoom back out again. There we are, so we're all set. We want to work with this part, so let me isolate it by pressing the /. So as you can see, we're here. Another way that you can check your model, especially after import, before you apply the materials, so looking at it directly after import, is heading into the viewport shading, then pressing the little drop down key here and choose Matcap, material capture. And once you click the icon, there is a bunch of predefined materials available, and especially of interest is this red one. Zooming out. And you can see what's happening. The material is applied to the model as well as a light source. And you can move the model to see how the light interacts with the material. The problems are clearly visible right here on the edge. It should move in a smooth line. And you can see if I rotate this model, you can see that this light is not moving smoothly. It's encountering all types of problems along the way. It's not so much on the top. As you can see, this is all smooth. So the topology is fine for us here, but it's the edge that gives us these problems. And that's what we are going to work with. Let me head back to front view. Changing back into a viewport material. And we want to work on this part here. The top part is going to obstruct our view a little bit. So let me tap into edit mode. Let me select the part that we don't need, which is just above the area we have to work with. I've done that. I'm pressing H, so I'm hiding all these parts. If I tap back out of edit mode, you can see the full model is still here. But if I tap back into edit mode, the parts that I do not find useful are hidden. And actually, I can hide these as well. Pressing H again, and they're gone. So I have the model available, and this is the area I want to work on. And I can see where the problem is located. I see a bunch of huge poles right here where all these different edges come together. And this is what influences the topology or the flow of the light or the material, as the topology does not offer any guidance on how the light should bounce to the left, to the right, or to the front. So we should give it more symmetry or more guidance to the topology. And that is something we can change. So let me just clear this. Let us first define the edge that we are going to work with. I want to find the edge, and that is actually the position between the slope, the gradual slope right here, and then the steep slope that goes down like this. And this is the edge I want to find to make the corrections. Let me get rid of the material step so we can see this a little bit better. Just in case you're wondering, the blue lines are sharp edges. They came with the model, so we're just going to leave them like they were. But we want to find the edge, so I think it runs smoothly like this, and I need to check it from a different angle. So if I look at it from an angle, that seems to be correct, but it's quite hard to see. So this is the one I want to trace, and I think this should be the one. Let me go up here, down here, up here. Let me check. Yeah, this is, and as you can see, this has a irregular shape, and this is going to be very hard for the software to follow to make it a smooth material. So we got some work to do in getting this even. But the first thing that we want to do, and I need to select this edge correctly, is understand where I need to work on. So let me just follow this line. And let me check if I'm at the right position. Yes, and I missed this one. And I'm just continuing on. And I think I need to go down here and here and here. You can see this zigzag pattern. So that's going to be very interesting for us to work on later. And I need to go here and here. So I think we're making good progress. And let me just, yep, this is the one I want. And yeah, we can follow this edge a little bit further. I think we're almost there, so that's good. Let me see if I got this edge correctly. Yeah, that's about it. And I can already see I need to move it down later on, but that's fine. So, and this is a true zigzag pattern. So I got this edge defined. And as you can see, it's not a regular shape. And to give us a better understanding, let me go to edge. I'm just going to mark it. It's not a seam, but I just want to mark it so I have a reference. That's the first thing I want to do. The next thing that I want to do is I want to protect this line with another edge. There's two options that I have. I can just move any vertices above this line down, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the knife tool. So pressing the K on the keyboard, and I'm just going to cut a line just above the line we just defined. And this is the area I'm going to work with. And I'm just going to cut it all the way to the other side. And then between these two lines, I'm going to clean up the topology. And the reason is that the topology just above this line is working quite well, but this is definitely something I need to work on. So I'm just doing a rough job here and like this. So that's my top line I want to work with, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. And let me just make a cut here, and I want to stay below the red line and here, and I'm going to make a cut right here, and I'm staying below the red line, and I'm almost done, so that's good. Getting all the way to the other end, and yep, pressing enter. So now I got the area which definitely needs to be worked on. So as you can see, we have the red line here, we have a reference line on the top and a reference line on the bottom. Let me mark them as well. Maybe that is useful for this presentation. There you go. And everything in between I want to clean up. And let's take a look how that works. If I zoom out and I tap back out of edit mode, you can see that there's clearly problems along this edge. It's very sharp and it's very jagged, like you see here. Let me just tap back into edit mode. And let's work until, let me just mark the area up until this. I'm just gonna mark this as well. So we are going to work on the area on the left of this edge that I just marked, and I'm going to clear this. There you go. And one way you can approach this is just by selecting an edge, pressing the X key, and we got two options. We can either delete the edge or we can dissolve it. If I press delete, it may take along some of the topology. So let me just redo it. But I can also choose for dissolve, and then it will leave the topology or the faces intact, and it will resnap to another vertex if that's necessary. We'll see an example on the next segment. Let me just clean this part. So what we've created here is our first quad, one on the top and one on the bottom. And if I do the next part, so let me just select all of these, and you will see that the red line will snap back as I am dissolving a lot of vertices, and this is now straightened out as I had deleted the surrounding vertices. So that's an additional benefit of having the dissolve option. I'm just gonna clean this, and I'm just gonna clean this one, and I'm not gonna clean this one because I can use this as a straight line. I'm just gonna select the vertex. I'm gonna select the vertex here. I'm pressing the G key twice, and I can slide this along the edge. And you can also see the color of the face change. That means that the topology is changing. I'm just leaving it here, so that's fine. I'm getting back to edge mode, and I'm just going to delete all these, and this one as well. And I have now 3 of the quads on the top and 3 quads on the bottom, and I'm just going to delete the next part as well. So I'm doing this more or less in a systematic way. And let me just tap back out of edit mode. And as you can see, we have cleaned it up quite a bit already. We do see some artifacts right here that we can work on as well. And we still have a sharp edge. That's fine for the moment. But what we can do is we can clean up a little bit more. Even on the bottom, we can eliminate some of the edges. And I wanted to do this one. There you go. And I'm just going to clean this up, and you're going to see what's happening. And what we can do is we can take the knife tool and we can just make it cut. So that's a straight cut. We can even make one here. So straight down, pressing the A will give it a straight cut. And there we got some more quads here. And if I select these, I am basically making a whole new topology. And I really don't like the way that this one is connected on the top. I am just going to delete all those. And what I can do is I can grab this one and I can go, well, let me go here. There you go. And let me just extend this one as well. And as you can see, getting all straight lines. This one is a little bit tilted. So let me get the vertex into place, grab, and make this into a straight line. Let's see what we've got right now. And as you can see, we cleaned up the topology quite a bit on this area. And if we were to select the Matcap, and let's take the red material again, you can see it's still a problem here. But as soon as we enter the area we just cleaned up, you see that the light is moving smoothly along this edge until we encounter the problem here. And this is the next area that we need to work on. So let's go to the next section. So let us first change the material back to something that we can work with. Tapping back into edit mode, and we see that this vertex is tilted a little bit. I can press the G key twice to move it along this edge. What you can also do is combining vertices together to eliminate them. So to achieve that, we need to head over to the right hand side. And let me just zoom in, click on this icon, and then under options, there is the possibility to activate auto merge. So we are gonna enable this, and zooming back out again, we need to head over to the top, activate the little magnet icon here, and make sure that the snap tool is set to vertex. So now we got everything enabled. So what we can do is we can grab a vertex, press the G key, and we can select the vertex with which we want to merge. In this case, I want to merge with this one, but I can select any one that I like. And those two are now combined. And there we go. And I can do the same thing here. And I can move it over to the left. Those are combined. I can grab this one and can move it over to the right. I can grab this one and move it over to the right. I can even grab this one and merge it with this one. And I can grab this one and merge it with this one. And like this. And merging this one. And if I want to move this vertex here, I'm just going to deselect the magnet, clicking on the vertex, pressing the G key twice, and I can move this edge along. So I clean this up. I think I want to introduce a little bit of topology, otherwise I get a huge quad. So that's one. I don't like that this huge pole is present underneath the part we just cleaned up. So I'm just going to delete all the diagonals. I'm going to dissolve those. And let me just extend this a little bit down. And I also want to introduce a little bit of typology or quads over here. And I think I want to delete this one as well. And to get this more into line, I'm going to grab this one and I'm going to extend this one. So all I've done is generating quads, tapping out of edit mode, and you see that we've cleaned up the second part as well. Once we're done with the model, we end up with a quad-based topology around the edge. We still have some quads and triangles on the top, but these do not influence the material as such. If I were to tap back out of edit mode, you can see that the material looks clean, even in the areas where the triangles and n-gons are present. So we can leave it like this. And it all just depends on the time you want to spend in cleaning up the topology and achieving the perfect result. What we've achieved so far looks very good. And as you can see, we have the quad based all around this edge. Another great benefit is that it also allows us to do some more remodeling. If I were to introduce like an edge loop, I can do it all along this edge and I can clean up this edge to make it smoother or even sharper. So with everything in place, we can move to the next step. We now want to apply the texture with a pattern to the motor. So like in the last tutorial, we are gonna select the motor, pressing the N, and we can select the material that we like. And we take the worn paint one, and we make the selection for the green one, adding it, and that brings us back. And in this case, you see the problems are here. The transition is not smooth and we need to do some work with UV unwrapping. And how we can do it is making a UV unwrap. But in this case, I see we have the connections which have a different color anyways included with the vertex group. And I would like to delete them. That's going to make the UV unwrapping a little bit easier. So I'm going to select the motors. I'm trying to deselect everything that I want to stay, and I hold down shift inside of my vertex group. So what I have done right now is I have selected everything that I would like to remove from the vertex group. I'm just gonna press remove. I'm doing Alt A, and if I press select again, you see everything is selected, but for some reason it also removed, and let me just add that again, some of the faces. I can just quickly add those to the selection again. It's like this, and I'm gonna press assign. So what I've done now, I have adjusted the vertex group to just include the motor, and now we can start the unwrapping. So let me pull this up and I'll change it to the UV editor. And I'm gonna select the, and there you go. And if I press on U, there are a bunch of options. The top one requires you to place the seams by hand. You define the seams and then the model is going to be unwrapped. This requires a little bit of knowledge on where to place these seams, and we are going to go with the automated one, so the Smart UV project. That's going to place the seams for us automatically, in this case at an angle of 66 degrees, and it can give some distance between the different unwrapping parts. So let me just make this a little bit larger so you can see. The area weight takes into account the areas of the UV islands. The scale to bounce just means that it's going to scale and use the entire diffuse map. Pressing OK will give us an overview of what it looks like. So the 3D object is now projected on top of the 2D image. And I can just grab everything and move it to the side. And you can see everything moves on top of the texture. I can also do it the other way around. And now I got everything, but I can move this out of the way because I've got everything first. And let me just deselect it. I'm gonna select the motor again. I'm gonna press U, Smart UV, and I keep everything the same. And there we go. And now I can click on something and I can locate where this part is, and the other way around. I can just press here and see where my parts are. I'm gonna work with this one, and what I want to do is I want to build this from the ground up. So I'm just moving the motor area out of the way, and we are going to start with the top first. So I'm selecting the top, I'm pressing Ctrl L, so everything which is connected is going to be selected as well. I'm grabbing it, and you can see when I move the top over this diffuse map, you can see that the texture moves along. I'm going to place it at some location, I'm going to reposition it anyway, and then I'm going to start off with the next one. And I would like the next one to be this one, and apparently it's here, so I'm pressing Ctrl L, I'm grabbing it and I'm placing it underneath the one that I just did. I keep a little distance for at this point because I think I have to move it. And let's take a look what we have got. So we do have a transition, but I see that the rust right here does not match up with the part right here. So apparently the top is rotated. I'm just clearing this. So I see the white line here and the white line, and just indicating this white line is the same as this white line here. And you would expect the top to have this white line as well. And if I take a look, and let me just clear this, the white line is all the way over here, so it's rotated over 90 degrees. So let's move this back. I'm going to select this one and I do Ctrl L and I rotate Y and I say 90 degrees, and I'm pressing enter, and that seems to work, but it's rotated over 180 degrees because it's on the top. So rotate Y 180, and there we go. And now I got this in place and I'm hooking those up. And as you can see, now I have a smooth transition between the white line, and that is actually the same transition which is right here. And now I can hook everything up so it matches. So we can move on to the next part, zooming out again. So we got the top and the side connected, which are these parts. Then we can move over to this area, which is the side. And if I say this, I do Ctrl L, so I got everything selected. I'm grabbing this and that should go here. And let's see if the orientation is correct, because we want the first letters to be in place as well. Now let's see me place this a little bit better. So the F becomes into place, that's fine. Take the next one, which is here, pressing Ctrl L again. I got everything. I'm grabbing this and I'm positioning this as well. And let me just do it right here. You see that the rust is there, the eye is coming into view, so that's good. Now I want the next one, it's a larger one again, Ctrl L, grabbing this, and I'm gonna position this as well. Positioning this in place, and now my text become visible, so first and then the next one. So we're making good progress here. I do Ctrl L, and I'm grabbing this one. And I need to zoom in, otherwise I'm gonna misplace this. There you go. And this has the correct orientation as well. And now I want to find this one. Ctrl L. And let me just put this into place next to the other one. And yep, that seems to work. And now I got a larger one again, which is Ctrl L. Grabbing this one. I'm putting this into place as well. And so I got my text along the line. So first 8, that's good. Now I got some smaller ones again. And I do Ctrl L again. And I'm grabbing this one. And I'm connecting those up. And I'm almost done. At least for the circumference. Ctrl L again. And I'm grabbing this one into place and placing this one as well. And that has also the correct orientation, that is good. And I want the last one, grabbing this and placing this as well. in the correct location. So I think I'm almost done. And then we have the last pieces here. Control L, and I'm just gonna place them next to them. And this one is placed as well. So I think I have everything connected. This is the bottom part which we have left, and we have the bottom here, and we have the corners. We will address those in a second, which are the ones over here. What we still notice, even though we have the area here correct, the top is still not adjusted correctly, and it has to do with the fact that this part on the top, this one, but the other one works, need to be connected to this part and to this part and to this part, and that's why they do not match up. So what we can do is we can select everything, and let me just grab the area that I just did. I'm gonna scale this down and I'll show you what you can do, and then we're gonna address the rest. So if I do it like this, and I'm almost perfect, you can see that I have a green area here, a green area here, a green area here, and obviously here. And it's going to be green here, green here, green here, with the exception of this small piece. But what you can see here is that the transition is almost perfect as long as I'm in the green area. And apart from this area right here, this is my problem, as it is located right here. So I need to find a position where I have green surrounding the top, and there's only green on the top of the flat faces here. Then I got a smooth transition, and the seam that I placed is almost invisible. So let me just head back. I'm just gonna undo my scaling, that you at least understand what I'm trying to achieve, because we still have the bottom to put into place, which is these parts. I'm not gonna bother with the top, because the bottom here and the bottom here, as they are not visible anyways. But I want to find this part, Control L, and I want to bring that in, but I need to find where it is located. So it's located over here. So I got this part, I do Control L and I move it over here. And what I can do now, rotate this over 90 degrees, for example, like this, and we can find a nice place for it, like this. So we got a transition. And maybe we don't like it like this, but we can find the place that we like. And I got some white area here. That's good. Let's find the next one, which is on the top. So I do Control L and I got this one. I need to find where it is located. So that should be here. So I'm zooming in. I do Control L again and I'm grabbing this here, and I can rotate it until I find a position which is nice for this one. And I'm just gonna do it like this. Move it down a little bit. Maybe like this. So as I got some rust in there, and maybe I want some more green. I can even have a white line. I can have the white line match up. This one is nice as well. Or maybe I can do it like this. And we can do the next one. Let me see if we got this one. And I can do Control L. And I'm grabbing this one. And that one should go here. And I can rotate it. Rotate Y. And as you saw with the previous one, it's not perfect, but what you can also do here is grab this piece, and I'm just going to grab the vertices here, and I want to match it up a little bit better. So I'm going to say scale Y is 0. So I'm just flattening this out. I'm grabbing this into the Y direction, and I'm changing this back. Now it's flat, and now I can even match it up better. So I can select any place that I like here, and I have the white line underneath. That's one I like. So I can do the same thing here, but I'll leave those. I like them as they are. Then I'm going to say this one, and let me just adjust them a little bit. So I like it like, I think the position here is fine. And the same here. And it's just the last one, I guess. Control L. And I'm grabbing this one, and this one should go here. I can rotate it. And actually this one looks nice already, but let me just grab it a little bit so it's white. Matching it up, and there we go. So we got the corner selected as well. Everything is in place. And what we need to do now is grab everything. I'm going to leave the left part alone as it is on the bottom anyways. I'm scaling this down and I want a smooth transition. So I'm going to find an area where the top is all the way in the green and then the bottom should be in the green as well. So we can find a good position for the textures so that the top of the motor and all the top ends of the sides connect up. And as you can see, it does so at the model right now. It's green at the top. We got the text going on the side. We got the rust in place as well. We have everything ready now to take the next step and move the models and the textures, including the animation, into Unity. Just look at the next tutorial. Love to see you there.